Welcome back to Art Kitchen. I'm Mo Golden, and this is the second video of a two-part interview with self-taught woodcarver and musician Shameka Gagnier. Her work focuses on healing, identity, decolonization, the ancestors, and spirit. She often collaborates with other artists, both in her musical projects as well as her visual art. Her upcoming album, Bloodlines, will be released fall 2016, and you can check out her amazing earrings, bolos, and other adornments and housewares at etsy.com/shop/stagwood. What role, kind of extending that question about relationship, what role does community play for you in your life as an artist, and how do you engage with your community?
It's changing. In the past, I've been really involved in my community and had a large sense of community. I still have that large sense, especially in Olympia. You can go anywhere and get so many hugs and so much love and reflection. It's changed a lot. It's right now it feels a lot more private in these certain ways, although I just did this crowdfunding, which I've never done before, and that was really humbling, and people's support was incredible. Yeah, it's just the reflections of what they feel about me. Like, that was mind-blowing. And I guess I also love to offer that back too with my friends who are artists. Yeah, right now it's more of just this kind of like almost being pregnant with something and not really being out there, you know, doing a lot. It's just being in the process with it. I just did a dance with some really great artists, Erica Fries and Sam Cates Goldman, and we worked with Quiver, and that was crazy, and that felt like I was in the community again. That felt like a really interesting process of being held both in the community, creating together, and then also like delivering it to all these people, never doing dance before, and having all these people show up to the flower shop and be crowded into a space for 2 shows, and that reflection and that like reverberation of that was crazy. Yeah. I'm hoping to be back into that space. I used to curate a lot of shows. I used to do like community projects and things, but yeah. Maybe soon. Yeah. Maybe after this baby's born. Right. You know?
Yeah, you're in an inward phase right now.
Yeah.
And in some of the things that you were reading, that I was reading, I think it was on your crowdfunding thing actually, you mentioned something about like previously maybe being uncomfortable with engaging in all these different art forms, and now in our conversation I'm not picking up on a lot of discomfort when you're talking about carving and dancing and music. And has that changed for you? Have you come to some sort of peace with working in multiple art forms?
Yes. Yeah. I think for a while I felt like not a very serious artist, maybe not an artist at all, because I hadn't honed like specific. I'm kind of like one of those people where I can sit in a room or sit in an environment and all these things will come, you know, and that's maybe like a conductor, you know, and I felt apologetic for that, because, you know, some people, you know, they learn how to dance and they learn how to make all their certain body, like their musculature work for them perfectly. And carving, they can, you know, do really beautiful realism. And musicians, like, I've been told that I'm not a musician before, you know, by different people that I've worked with. And in some ways I definitely agree. And then in other ways, I can have a conversation with a whole room full of people that if I was really a trained musician, I would have lost a lot of that.
Sure.
emotional depth and quality. Like, not everybody that does that, but some people are just like really, and I would like to learn that kind of practice a little bit more too, but I feel better about it. And so like I think having a big, huge playground, you can, the possibilities are endless, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm just throwing caution to the wind, but in some ways I am, some regards I am, you know, but the possibilities and also what actually comes out of all of it is really authentic to my own process. And so if I were trying to just dial into this specific thing, I don't think I would be able to be where I'm at, you know, like, really, honestly.
And that, yeah, being multidisciplinary isn't necessarily at the expense of technique or discipline, but it might be at the expense of being specialized.
Yeah. And I really like, oh God, there's so many artists that I love so much that are really disciplined, and they've been doing, you know, like Anti-Girlfriends, Maya's Anthem, Rebecca Welty. She's been carving forever, and her stuff is so beautiful. And, you know, there's there's definitely a trade-off on a level.
Yeah. Do you think that is chosen, or do you think it's kind of innate in us? And like, do you think that you're actually capable of being a specialist, or do you think that you're honoring your nature by being the way that you are?
I think part to what I've like spoken to previously in the questions that you asked me, like from where I come from, like my background, not really giving myself that time, you know, I think there are things to be said about that, like as far as like surviving and these things. Like, I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna play this guitar and I can find cool things on it, and I'm not really gonna like do too much to that, because I'm afraid that if I put too much into that, you know, it's not a good use of my time, or like whatever. And I know it sounds, in some ways, those things sound like a cop-out, but literally, you know, I've gone to different music lessons and different lessons, and it's really hard to sit in that process for me. And one day I want to learn that. Like, I'm learning that through my carving practice and through music in a lot of ways. And so I don't know, like, I haven't really given myself that yet. And also, where I'm at right now is so perfect for the scope of what I'm speaking to. So I don't know. Like, I hope, you know, maybe I'll be like 80 and I'll be like a classical guitarist. Like, I would kind of really love to learn something that well. Like, I really, really honor that practice. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
And so you're working on a new album, Bloodlines. Will you talk a little bit about your inspiration for that project and where you're at in the process right now?
Bloodlines, it's been in the works for 2 years, but even before that, it's all about identity. It's all about trying to find a place in the ecology, in the grander scope. Like, it's about, you know, being torn from my ancestry. It's been, you know, being part of a, you know, colonized people. It's, you know, it's all about these big, huge pieces of my identity, and then also like healing, and finding these like treasures, you know, and just actually being able to be embodied. Like, it's hard to be embodied, you know? And it's all about that. It's all about like the human experience. It's all about what it means to be in a body. But a different side to what I've spoken to in my past. Actually like loving it, you know, and it not being tortured with it, you know, and like how I'm honoring my ancestors by being embodied, like, and thriving and not just surviving, you know, like, yeah, it's been really a beautiful gift to myself and also to my ancestors, you know, to just like that conversation. It's been, it's held that over the last couple of years.
I'm excited about it. It sounds really powerful. Where are you at with it now? Have you recorded it, or are you?
We put down piano tracks. My friend Media came in from New Orleans and she did these really beautiful piano tracks. And then I'm working with Matt Busher. He's recording and he's helping me with like backup vocals, which is really fun. I love harmonizing with myself a lot. And so he's helping me with that. And then there's this guy named Eli. He's a bike mechanic here in town, and he is an incredible beatboxer. And so, I don't know, just finding the different flavors. Like being in Olympia for so long, there's so many talented people, you know? And so, so I'm gonna go back in probably a week and a half, 2 weeks, and start up again. So I've got the piano tracks, and then I'm gonna start doing all the vocals and all of these other
Congratulations, that's so exciting.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited too because I'm gonna invite friends to come in and do like chorus parts and stuff. I'm super stoked on that. Really fun.
I find that so inspiring, hearing just a little bit about your process. I find it really inspiring just what you're saying about exploring and transforming that material so that it isn't about being tortured and in pain, but then also this way of connecting it with other people. I feel like a lot of times we make these kind of empty efforts by just showing it to people and wanting them to get it, but by actually inviting people in and giving them voice in the project too, that feels really wise and inspiring and powerful. I'm excited to see how that happens.
Yeah, I think I've realized like over the last few years, like how many of us, like no matter what our story is, how many of us still feel that loneliness or like wondering why the hell are we doing this? Like, you know, or like, you know, so many of us don't want to be in our bodies, like for whatever reason, depending like on the class scale, it doesn't even matter. Like I know some people who are really like safe and comfortable and just like so disfranchised from their own experience of being alive, you know, and so scared of everything, you know, so like I don't know, I think it's super important to have that process happen as a community or be open. And to be like, I see you kind of stepping up as a role model of saying like, and I can be supported in my process, like not just witnessed, but backed up, literally. Man, people, it still blows me away. Like, every time I got that old story, like, you know, nobody's gonna come look for me. Like, nobody's gonna come looking for me.
You're gonna throw a party and no one's gonna come.
Or like be born in the world and nobody's gonna like have me, you know, and then it's not true, you know, and when you're doing something with your whole heart, everybody wants to be a part of it. Like it's a party that everybody can feel, you know? Super grateful for that.
And just, you know, adding to that, I've been asking on Facebook for people's suggestions for people to interview, and I've gotten a lot of suggestions, but it's been one or sometimes two people saying the same name, and I don't know how many people suggested you. It was just like a Facebook flood of Shameka. So
it's really sweet. I know, I saw that and I was like, God, shut up, you guys. I don't know how to talk on a camera.
Yeah.
I'm awkward.
And it was like several different posts. Like I think there's like 3 or 4 posts at different times with different wording that people are just commenting like, Shameka, we want to see Shameka interviewed.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. So my last question is, now where you're at as a person, as an artist in your process, do you have any suggestions or guidance for other people who maybe aren't giving themselves permission to be creative, or they are giving themselves permission but they're not really sure how to take those first steps of having or strengthening a deep connection with their creativity?
Yes. Their specific quality of creativity, their specific voice in the world, their specific resonance and medicine is so important to all of us. And it would be a huge disservice to all of us if they didn't figure it out. And be in that really difficult process of figuring out how to contribute their part, their gifts. Yeah, it makes me feel really emotional thinking about it, because like it's hard to, you know, like it's really hard, especially depending on like socialization or background or whatever, like reasons why we don't want to bring our offerings forward. But it's so important to all of us, like, to do it. Like there's nothing, so many of us feel very insignificant, you know, and it's just like, it's not true. And I don't know how to get that across to people. I mean, hopefully their ancestors and people around them will, you know, reflect that to them enough. And I pray for that to happen for them deeply, because my experience, my art's not going to speak to everybody, you know, but theirs could speak to, you know, there's like, if we're, and I think having a practice, and it's really goofy, but the artist way was really helpful to me as far as like really validating like me seeing art, me being in the company of other artists, me having like these experiences of what feeds my creative process, what feeds that that fire, you know, like it was super helpful. And so there's like these like writing processes and these artist dates, and also being around other creative people. Like I think it's really important. If it's, you know, getting a studio with other people or going to discussions or going to lectures, anything, just to get that. If you can do that enough and expose yourself enough, like you will find the courage, I think. I hope. You need them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love that message. And yeah, what you're saying, like that, yeah, your art can only appeal to this section, and that we all need to be connected to with art. So yeah, we need other people's representation.
Please.
Well, thank you so much. It's been really cool hearing what you have to say. I'm really grateful.
Thank you so much. Thanks. This is really a cool project.
Thanks for watching. I know I've enjoyed it. I hope you have too. So like it, share it, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/mogoldenvideos. That way you can make sure you won't miss any Art Kitchen videos. This whole project is made possible by the viewers, baby. If you want to join the club, come on over to patreon.com/mo and become a patron. It's more than just donating to some awesome media. You get rewards and connect with an amazing community too.